Hi, I'm Joe Boylan, one of the owners of Springs Homes. One of the most common questions we get from home buyers as we head to the closing table is, what are all these fees? So what I'd like to do today is kind of break down what these fees are all about. The first expense category I want to talk about is closing costs. Now, these expenses are related primarily to the home loan and the legal side of the transaction. Closing costs include things like mortgage insurance, title insurance, and any appraisal or lender fees. Even though most of the closing cost fees pertain to the home loan, there are certain fees that even cash buyers need to pay, and those are things like title fees and recording fees. The second category is out-of-pocket expenses. Now, these cover things like inspections and your down payment. If you're buying a home, there are a number of different inspections you can do, and of course you would pay for all of these out of pocket. Now finally, we have prepaids. Prepaids are expenses that relate to the property itself, not so much the loan or the legal aspects. This includes things like property taxes, homeowners insurance, and any prepaid mortgage interest. Now, it's important to note that closing costs are the only expenses that can really be rolled into the mortgage. Out-of-pocket expenses and prepaids cannot, and you actually need to come up with the cash. If you're using a mortgage to buy your new home, your lender is most likely going to require that they make your homeowner's insurance payments as well as your property tax payments. Now, this is where prepaids come into play. So your prepaid funds go into an escrow account that your lender is going to use to make your insurance and tax payments. That's right, you put the money there, they make the payments. Now, in the event your down payment is more than 20%, your lender may not require that they make your tax and insurance payments. Having said that, it's kind of a good idea to go ahead and set the service up and let them handle it for you. Now, in the event you're paying cash for a home, you won't need to adhere to any of these lender requirements, but you will be responsible for making your own tax and insurance payments. So how much are prepaids? I mean, how do you calculate them? It'd be great if I could give you a simple trick to figure them out, but because taxes change so much from area to area and house to house, and levels of coverage and policy expenses are so different, there's really no simple answer. So this is where your mortgage lender can help. When you make loan application, the lender is going to produce something called a loan disclosure. This is a breakdown of all the expenses associated with the cost of taking out the loan. One of the line items on that report is prepaids. So they're going to do an estimation of what your prepaids will be prior to closing. Now, as you get closer to closing, like 3 days within closing, you're going to get another disclosure document from your lender called the closing disclosure. This is going to give you the final number that you're going to be responsible for at closing for prepaids. As you get closer to closing, like 3 days prior to closing, you're going to get another document from the lender called the closing disclosure. This one's going to be the hard number that you actually owe for prepaids. You're going to be required to fund the escrow account with a full year of insurance payments. When it's time to make those payments, the lender will do that, and then each subsequent payment you make is going to contribute just a little bit back to building that account back up for next year's insurance premiums. Taxes work a little differently because you pay taxes for the time you've lived in the house. The seller will actually have paid the taxes from January 1st through the date of closing. You as the buyer are going to be responsible for taxes from the date of closing forward. So depending on the time of year you close, the lender may require an additional 2 to 9 months of additional tax payments in the escrow account. And taxes, just like insurance, as you make your payment, a small portion of each payment is going to go to replenish the fund to pay next year's taxes. So I've written an article on the springshomes.com blog that goes into much greater detail about prepaids, how they work, and how they affect home buyers. Now, I hope this information was helpful, and if you'd like updates on any future videos we do, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.